I'm back. Just because the guy with the burrito in his butt came on the show doesn't mean you can take me away forever. And this week, BYU is going to lose to UCF. This is the Big 12 squad. Time for that long intro again.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up. It's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up. You're part of the Big 12 squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome into the Big 12 squad. Grab a drink or two or six based on the way this show usually goes, and let's enjoy the Big 12 squad as we get everybody in this conference together. Thank you for making our shows your first listen every single day as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Jake Hatch of Locked On BYU Cougars, Cody Stovall, Locked On Oklahoma State, Mike Giddens of Locked On UCF, brand new to the Locked On Podcast Network, Mountaineer Paul of Locked On West Virginia, Kevin Borba represents Colorado, and Parker Ainsworth of Locked On Houston Cougars, who records every show on a Nokia 6. Thank you, Parker, for bringing the throwback to the episodes.
We're still working on Wi-Fi here, apparently. I was going to say, you said they're supposed to have a few during. It feels like we record as if there have been a few before. I don't know how this normally goes.
Yeah, usually. Oh, my gosh. And then late to the party, Casey Cowan of Locked On Texas Tech. That's exactly where we'll start. Casey, Texas Tech was also late to its football game. They didn't show up till the fourth quarter, and then they decided to do those points. What on earth happened there?
Well, I thought I would just do my best impression of the Red Raiders, show up late. I'm also going to leave early, if you don't mind, just not play the fourth quarter. What happened there? We call it a typical teching in the 806. Home favorite, sold-out crowd, a homecoming, got a little momentum in the tank, and then you lay an egg. So for lifelong Red Raider fans, not something we haven't seen before, unfortunately, but we did learn again, when you don't pressure their quarterback, they pressure yours.
Yes.
Good things don't happen. And unfortunately, that's been a common theme for the Red Raiders so far this season.
Yeah, and the kid that transferred from Texas Tech to Baylor did a really good job of getting in the Texas Tech backfield all Saturday long and giving the Bears
thanks for that reminder.
In love. Yes, thank you, Casey. All right, see you, Casey. Good to have you. Wait a second. You guys this week are at TCU. TCU's favored by 6.5. Why? I mean, if we break it down, okay, Casey, if we take away last week, didn't happen, Fugazi, right? Which I'm sure you would love, by the way. Then TCU's not favored in this game. We're taking 1 week of a sample size and giving it all to TCU. Is it right the Horned Frogs should be favored by a touchdown?
I got to be honest with you, even if Texas Tech was able to win a game last week against Baylor, unless it was like in blowout dominating fashion, I don't know that I'd be surprised to see the Horned Frogs favored over the Red Raiders. Tech has been bad on the road. Under Joey McGuire, we were ecstatic to get the win over Arizona, which doesn't look quite as exciting as it did at that time, given what the Wildcats have done since. But just a road win in general, something that's been hard to find. And I really just feel like through the early course of Texas Tech's schedule, there was a whole lot out there still to be learned about them, even though you're finding ways to get wins. You're in one more margin ball games, obviously, which is a consistent thing, the Big 12 Conference. So I'm not surprised, really. I got to be honest with you. I don't think it's all that crazy to see Tech a dog on the road, whether they would have won or got the result that they did.
Good. Glad to see things are still not going very well over there. There's so little confidence in either of those responses.
Hey, man, Cody, I've been lifelong in this Texas Tech game, all right? We're a coin flip program. I don't care what the week is. Flip the coin. We'll probably do something insane as far as a win as an underdog at some point in the year, but this is the way it goes in the 806. Being a Red Raider ain't for the faint-hearted.
10-2 is still technically possible.
Exactly.
Cody Stovall, not only did Oklahoma State win against BYU, they also lost against BYU on Friday night, and you chipped a tooth. So you going to sign language for us here, or how does that work?
No,
Morse's voice still works.
I'm gonna figure it out here. At least I can say the pain that I've felt watching Oklahoma State this season is pretty comparable to the pain in my face right now. You know what? You are right. We finally found a quarterback just to lose him. But I told the dude, if you try to stiff arm the turf, you're probably not going to win that battle 99 times out of 10.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wait,
what's
time out.
happening
Math.
right now,
99 times out of 10? 99
Oklahoma
times.
math. Oklahoma
Yeah,
math.
that's Stillwater America math. All right.
And Chris Level sent his daughter to that school. I don't know how.
Well, mathematics, it's not necessary, okay? We know how to farm. We know how to golf. We know how to run cross country, and that's good enough in my book, buddy.
Wow. Jake Hatch, your football team lost on Friday until it didn't anymore. What even was that?
Pretty incredible stuff, all things considered. BYU absolutely pulled a rabbit out of a hat. Jake Retzloff continues to show that he is absolutely masterful at the quarterback position, and I can't put anything past this BYU squad right now because they seem to have found different ways to win every single week.
But let's go to the team that also won on Saturday. Mike G with UCF. Your team got a big win on the road against Iowa State. I turned the game off at 28-14. It was over. And then you pulled an Oklahoma State. What a fall apart in Ames.
I feel like Jake's rubbing it in my face talking about finding ways to win. We're finding ways to lose down in Orlando right now. But look, I think it's going to be a great game on Saturday. UCF they're going to give them hell. But there's something about a team that can't find ways to win at ends of games that makes things exciting in a bad way for fans. So, look, fans are raising the pitchforks. It feels like the firegusmalzahn.com website gets fired up here late in the season. There's a lot of pressure in Orlando right now, and so it's going to be a great game on Saturday. I can't wait for this. It's going to be primetime Big 12.
How about Mountaineer Paul? Just got news that West Virginia has fired Neil Brown to hire Nick Saban. Helping break that one down. Saw that headline this week. Congratulations, my friend.
A guy can dream. A guy can only dream. It's either going to be Jimbo or Nick Saban, according to our fan base.
Of course, yes.
What
about Santa Claus? Is he busy this time of year? I feel like fall's kind of his prep season.
So it's been rough, obviously. Neil Brown now is 3-17, lost 8 straight ranked opponents. Just unbelievable. Can't even defend it at this point. And I just reported earlier, Matt Yeomans of VSIN is reporting that Neil Brown will be out by the end of the season. I did a show on that earlier. Probably going to be gone.
Mountaineer Paul, I am reporting that I will pee tomorrow morning after waking up from sleep. That's great. Breaking news. Neil Brown was fired at the end of the season.
Surprise. Not a huge surprise at all. But it was nice to get, because our local media just won't say anything bad at all about Neil Brown, no matter what. So it was nice to see somebody report something outside of it. Is the weather nice? Did you have fun?
Yeah. Cody Stovall, you know a thing or two about that. Those athletic departments, the second you start asking those real questions, they get a little stingy.
Yeah, they don't take too kindly to you putting out stuff that goes against the approved narrative.
That's Cody Stovall. Thank you very much. And scene. Hey, coming up here on the Big 12 squad, Colorado has an outside shot at the college football playoff, which I think our friends at ESPN would kind of like. So that there's a real possibility. And 100%. Houston has an outside shot at the college football playoff in 2036. This is the Big 12 squad show. More on that when we come back. Today's Big 12 squad show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is the number one place that I will go and say BYU is an underdog against UCF. I think BYU is going to win this game. I'm going to go FanDuel, and I say FanDuel +2 for BYU. Absolutely sign me up. FanDuel.com is America's number one sportsbook. And right now, if you put in $5, ching, they'll give you $200 in bonus bets. Oh, no, I lost my $5 bet. That's fine. You still get $200 in bonus bets. And that's the best part of FanDuel. And in the middle of a game, you get a hunch. You can go make live bets based on the stats and the play-by-play that they also give you on FanDuel. It's easy. Visit FanDuel.com. It's America's number one sportsbook. I promise. You'll love it. FanDuel.com, official sponsor of the Locked On Podcast Network. Visit FanDuel today. Back on the Big 12 squad show, Kevin Borba. Deion Sanders is football coach and winning football games. And now, still a Big 12 title hope alive.
Yeah, I think Colorado has really shown that they could play complete football. They surpassed the 4-win threshold, which was kind of their demon that they needed to exercise after last year. They lost 7 out of their last 8 games last year and ended up at 4-8. And now they look like they could be one of the best teams in the Big 12. And today, Deion Sanders, he dropped 2 stats for us that I thought were pretty funny. It was back-to-back 27-point road wins for the first time since he had a Jerry curl. And then it was also the first time that they forced 3+ turnovers in 3 straight road games since Moby Dick was a minnow. So Colorado's defense is really, really on another level right now. They lead the Big 12 in sacks. They lead the Big 12 in turnovers forced. And it's kind of this weird thing where if you hand the ball off to a running back, it does open things up for the passing game as well. And so who knew that not throwing the ball 70 times a game would work out, but it's working out really well for the Colorado Buffaloes.
I think someone probably was like, hey, Deion, I got an idea this week. We have like 7 running backs there. Would you like to just use any of them? And Deion was in. Mike G, you and I did a crossover episode this week where you said Colorado has an outside shot at the college football playoff, maybe even with an at-large question mark?
Yeah, look, they want Colorado in this playoff. Kevin, they want y'all in the playoff. So get ready, buddy. If Colorado wins out, and what Drake and I talked about was a scenario where, look, you not playing in that Big 12 title game might be a kind of a blessing because you don't have to risk getting that 3rd loss, and you can sit there and let BYU and maybe Iowa State battle it out. You win out, and then, bam, you're sitting there just primed to go to the playoff.
Prime, nice, well placed.
Hey, welcome to the show, Mike G.
Gonna get it.
Yeah, I look at the rest of Colorado's schedule, and I honestly don't see a game where I'm not confident in them to win this game. Right? They have Cincinnati on deck. Who
is Kevin Borba extremely loud for anyone else?
I'm sorry.
He's getting
a whole lot of Borba, man. This guy's confident in the Buffs.
Am I good now? Sorry, new mic.
Good now.
No,
New mic.
Louder, more cowbell.
Sorry, but Cincinnati, not that good. Texas Tech, I mean, sorry, Casey, but who knows what you guys are. And then Utah, JT Wisherstill's not here, but Utah, I think they look like they play football in the 50s. They can't throw the ball forward. And then Kansas is terrible. And then Oklahoma State. No offense, Cody. You guys aren't that great. So that's a nice stretch.
Hey, how dare you talk about Utah like that? All right.
Look, there are over 6,000 languages in the world.
Wow.
But Kevin has chosen to speak facts, guys. Look, these guys, I 100% agree about this schedule. It's manageable. I mean, I think it's what it boils down to. Take all the rhetoric out of it. That schedule is very manageable for them to win out. They just can't have any mental lapses down the stretch, right? Yep. So Shedeur Sanders, one of the best QBs in college football. Travis Hunter, he was, he's been my front runner for the Heisman this whole season. People were high on Jalen Milroe. I just was like, no, I think we're going to see him falter here. Travis Hunter, the one defensive and offensive player of the game. I think he's on the ticket for the presidential election in a month. This guy is dynamic.
I would vote for him. I would vote for him. I've watched his TikTok lives. He has great politics. I love his thoughts on taxes. Parker Hainsworth of Locked On Cougs. You guys were back until speaking of, your internet connection is stunning. I can hear you perfectly, but I could never understand what you look like. This is like you're like a Guess Who character, like a muffled Guess Who character.
Parker, do you have warrants? What's going on?
My mom said I had a face for radio, so I guess that's the way it goes.
You don't have a face at all right now.
I think Kevin talks about the Buffs having a chance to college football playoff because they don't have to play the Cougs, right? Kelvin Sampson's got a great program. Rich, oh wait, this is football season. I will say that I think that the biggest thing Houston's got going for them is it sounds like the quarterback might be healthy again this weekend. It really sucks to feel like you figure out just that part of it out and then he gets hurt and then you have to go back on your decision. That's never a fun situation to be in. Kansas City did not treat us very well. We looked like a little too much barbecue or something. But the offense was pretty anemic and slow. But y'all seem to all be fairly down on Utah football, and JT's not here to defend himself. So I'm going to say that's a good sign? ?
Yes, thank you, Parker. The one time that the Houston guy can rag on Utah, who would have thought? This is the Big 12 we live in. Also, who would have thought that Baylor? Who would have thought that Cameron Stewart would show up on the same night that the Boston Celtics are hanging their banner? Good. I'm glad you get to watch it. Cam, your team won this week, but more importantly, going into a matchup with Oklahoma State on Saturday. What in the hell is this? Baylor has scheduled a stripe out the stadium. Guys, check this out. Every third section, green.
Wait, I thought the green were just the empty seats. Is that not how that works out?
Every second section looks like gold, unless you're in that middle row of seats, at which point you're green. I just imagine explaining this to your grandmother, that this is the stripe out that Baylor's going with. Cam, can you give me any sort of reprieve?
No, I mean, there's no even clever joke about it. It's just bad. Like, it's just hard to understand. And they haven't even they've tried a regular stripe out like every year, like a normal stripe out every other
odds and evens.
section.
The odds are green, the evens are gold.
Right. And it's never worked. And they've tried gold outs, they've tried green outs. Literally the only thing that has worked is a blackout. The only thing. And then they're just like, what if we try striping it, but just differently? It feels like it's robbing the momentum we've been waiting for a year and a half after that Tech win. And then that needs to stunt it.
Knowing Cam Stewart would be there in the press box, there at the very bottom in all black funeral attire, Cameron Stewart, the Baylor press box, is dressed out very appropriately with the most complex evens, odds, prime numbers. By the way, they're gonna wear black on Saturday in the most confusing promo I think I've ever seen. Coming up, let's preview a bit more on this week because we got so much coming up in the Big 12. This is the Big 12 Squad, where you're going to get a bunch of stuff from the Big 12 Squad. If you're not on your second drink by now, good luck on the Big 12 Squad. Guys, you ever feel like you need a little boost in the bedroom? It's time to stop worrying about your performance and get HIMS. That's HIMS, so you can feel confident knowing you can get hard and stay hard whenever you're in the mood. HIMS is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments and from the comfort of your own couch. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds and thousands of trusted subscribers, HIMS can help you find the ED option that works for you. Start for free online. Visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Welcome back to the Big 12 Squad. We lost Cameron Stewart. That was all that he wanted. He wanted no business when it comes to Oklahoma State this week. Cody Stovall, do the Cowboys bounce back and get their first Big 12 win? They're 0-4 in conference play.
No, because Alan Bowman is back to being our quarterback. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science to figure out how to stop Alan Bowman. Everybody in the country knows how to stop Alan Bowman, and it's a byproduct of also being able to stop Ollie Gordon. What BYU couldn't do, and what most teams have difficulty with, is a mobile quarterback, because it changes the numbers for you defensively on how you can attack and how you can overload certain sides of the ball. Garrett Engel could run. Zane Flores could run. Well, they're both injured, so they're not running anywhere. We have another quarterback who shattered all of Tom Brady's high school records at 6'4", 207 pounds, who runs a 4.59 40. And guess what? He ain't going to flip and play either, because Mike Gundy would rather pretend that making a bowl game is still the epitome of Cowboy football, as opposed to realizing that in the new Big 12, I don't know, we're supposed to be some king ding-a-ling swinging team. But we're not.
Ding-a-ling swinging.
Yeah. Right.
Mike G, locked on UCF. Welcome to the squad.
Okay.
You can borrow that one if you need to. I don't know if Guff Malzahn is going to be in a King Dingling conversation, but if so, I got you covered, buddy.
I just like the rocket science reference from a guy that put 99 into 10 earlier. Like it just keeps giving. It just keeps giving.
Hashtag you're welcome.
It spreads.
It spreads.
It spreads.
Mountaineer Paul, West Virginia going on the road against Arizona this week. Let's go a bit more in depth. Nova Fita's still good. Ted McMillan's still good. In the Fire Your Coach Bowl, do you think West Virginia does ultimately have the? Do you want West Virginia to win or just get it over with?
On a serious note, I could never root against. I know too many of those players. I could never ever root against them. Would it possibly benefit West Virginia if we lost from a fandom perspective? Probably. I think it would probably push Neil out the door a little quicker, but I don't think anybody's rooting for that. Do I have confidence that we'll win the game and be able to stop Ted McMillan, who's a top 10 pick? Absolutely. Not really. I think Jordan Leslie has proven that he knows how to have an above average to elite front seven and an absolutely just 130th ranked back end. And that's how it is almost every year. And I attribute that to the defensive line coach and linebackers coach at West Virginia being good and nobody else being good back there. So unfortunately, they thought it was a good idea to not hire a safeties coach this year. Yeah. And that has definitely sown its dividends.
So what I hear is going to happen is that they're going to then hire our offensive coordinator, Kevin Barbay, as their head coach and help us out too. So I'm rooting against West Virginia, or I'm rooting for them to lose as well, because that would trickle our way, right? That's the episode. That's how it's going to work.
Well, when they said earlier, when they talking to Borba and said that they ran the ball a lot, I thought about Dana Holgerson and how he probably spilled a Red Bull while thinking about people running the ball so much. Probably not going to be happening a lot in this game.
He loves his Red Bulls. Parker Ainsworth, you're going to tell me why Houston will beat Utah, but not yet. We're going to get there because I'm excited for it. We'll go to Kevin Borba. Kevin, quickly, will Colorado struggle with Cincinnati?
I don't think they will. Cincinnati's defense is worse than Colorado State's, and Colorado lit them up. That was just kind of the only comparable defense in the hundreds that I could find when looking this up. Realistically, I don't think anyone could slow down Colorado's offense, regardless of how many receivers they have down. I think it kind of was a positive moment for them to win big without Travis Hunter this past week. He probably shouldn't have played for the 5 minutes that he did, but they won big without him, and I think they've shown that they've come a major way. Their defense has stepped up, their offense has stepped up, and I think a lot of people are changing their opinions on Colorado. I think I even saw a positive comment from Paul Feinbaum, so pretty big deal.
Good. You've got Feinbaum.
Feinbaum showing Big 12 love. That's a big deal.
Watch it. Let's rock with Casey Cowan, Texas Tech. I know you gave a bit of a preview about this TCU game. Will you call the shot that Tech wins it on the road in Fort Worth?
If you could give me a favorable turnover margin for the Red Raiders, then I could call that shot. Texas Christian has been giving the football away left and right so far this year. And coming into last week, Tech, I think, had 9 takeaways in the previous 3 or 4 ball games. Then they go goose egg against Baylor. So you could say we're due. So maybe we'll pick back up where we left off previously there and continue to make hay on Horned Frog mistakes. And it has been good to see that the people in purple have been prone to chunk plays on the ground. And Taj Brooks is a guy that I think maybe can take advantage of that. Again, when I say that Texas Tech is a coin flip roller coaster kind of program, that does include doing something unexpected, which might be going back with your hair on fire on the road after you're embarrassed at home and pulling off a win. So I am feeling bold about it, but I really need to know what that turnover column is looking like to call the win, I think.
Mike G for UCF going this week at home against a BYU team that's number 1 in the Big 12. I know you've said on both your show and our crossover episode that UCF will win. In a short synopsis, why is that the case?
It's going to be the ground game. The 354 yards on the ground they put on Iowa State, and that's in large part because of Ja'Cory Brown being able to run the ball effectively. 13 carries for 154 yards. If they can play ball control, because I think the only way to slow down Retzlaff is just to keep the ball away from them, right? Yeah. And if they can play ball control and they can win time of possession, you can limit their opportunities to score, get some key 3 and outs there, which they've shown the ability to be able to do, and then get opportunistic turnovers, which they did versus Iowa State as well. Again, I understand the late crash out this past weekend, but I really feel like BYU, this is not in the bag for them. UCF can do this. They've just got to execute their game plan. They've got to win the turnover battle, and they've got to get the run game going like they did on Saturday versus Iowa State. They can win time of possession. They can win this game.
Yeah, Jake Hatch had to pop out real quick, but on behalf of him, I do think BYU ends up winning this game, though UCF gives up a lot of fight. I just haven't seen enough in the passing game for UCF to be confident in them winning. They'll be one-dimensional on the ground. They were this week, and it almost worked, but almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Parker Ainsworth, Houston and Utah this week. We have no JT Wistrcill, who has gone into hiding, witness protection after Utah's fallout.
I heard he's applying for the OC job. Is that not?
If the team who has more offensive coordinators gets an edge here, then Houston really looks good. They have exponentially more offensive coordinators than Utah. I would also take $1.8 million to step down from my role as Utah's offensive coordinator. For you, the Houston Cougars this week, after being demolished by Kansas, right back to your old ways. Is there a world in which Utah falls to 1-4 in Big 12 play and loses to the least of us.
I think the biggest thing is, and it sounds silly after what just happened against Kansas, but through most of Houston's season, they've been in games where the defense plays well. They played Iowa State.
The Oklahoma game, yeah.
Oklahoma game. Iowa State was 3-0 in the late third, like at the end of the third quarter. Like these games typically are closer because of that. I look at a Utah team that has what feels like negative offense and literally no offensive coordinator, a quarterback situation. They've got the younger Wilson brother out there slinging around because they don't know the old man finally broke at quarterback, right? And
he'll be back next year. Him and Alan Bowman both.
Yeah, but they won't let him play with the wheelchairs. I don't know. No, I think that the truth there is that that sets up for if Houston's defense is back on track, and Kansas was the admiration or the one that sticks out. Back to English class. I think that's the moment that Houston kind of gets a couple turnovers. It's a night game. It's homecoming. The crowd, even though it's been a rough year, should be up for those kinds of things. I think those are all good signs. Zion Chris is supposed to be healthy enough to play. I think they missed him after he went out pretty early last week, and so those are all good signs. I will say the Houston offense has been horrible. We've talked about 14 points last Saturday being the third highest point total on the season for them. That's rough, and so that doesn't TCU won 13-7 though, so.
True. Parker, if we send you back to English class, we can send Cody back to math class with you. We can make it kind of a package deal. 99 out of 10 for him.
Shaking his head violently, no.
The ghost of Parker Ainsworth. I only wish we could have seen you tonight. I'm sure you look great. I would have no idea.
This feels like punishment for my Astro shirt on. I realize I had an Astro shirt, but that's the reason that I can't be seen.
That'll do it. The Ainsworth curse. I feel like today was just this beautiful encapsulation of what the Big 12 is. Quick, in and out, easy, chaotic a little bit. Some guys came, some guys went. That is a beautiful thing.
Pause.
Come on, Cody. There it is. It's the last time that I go off script.
Wow.
Just stuck to the Cody.
Quick, in and out and easy, huh?
So many times.
Some guys came and went. All right, we will. I'll just hide that one from production and make sure they don't see it, and then I'll be suspended for next week again. Follow and subscribe to your favorite Locked On Big 12 family of podcasts, and we'll be covering your favorite team every day throughout the season. And don't forget, you'll be covering the entire conference every day with Locked On Big 12. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This has been, and it always will be, from Cody Stovall to Parker Ainsworth to Kevin Borbrud, Mike Giddens, and Casey Cowan, and Mountaineer Paul. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. The Dose Grande Squad.